and welcome to the Amy Edwards Show. I'm your host, Amy Edwards. I am so excited because we are here to keep up-leveling our lives. If you are new to this show, I welcome you. My life's work is using my voice to help people tap into their infinite potential, to heal themselves, raise their vibration, and make every day better than the last at absolutely any age. That is like my mission. And so welcome. If you're a longtime listener, welcome to you too. And I am beyond excited to welcome today's guest because I think I'm already in love with her. I was studying her and I was like, literally, like, I was like, I think I love her. So I am excited. I am so excited to welcome Susan Bratton. Susan, you are the intimacy expert to millions, a champion and advocate for anyone who desires intimacy and passion for their whole life long. I love that, whole life long. There's no end date. There's no, oh, now you've reached this age and it looks like X. Anyway, you've been featured on numerous platforms, including ABC, CBS, Playboy, NBC, Well and Good, Thrive Global, New York Times, the list goes on. And you inspire people across the gender spectrum. I want to emphasize that as well. Through Personal Life Media, which you founded in 2006, you've authored and published 34 books and programs. And that's a very long list as well. So I'll stop there. People get the idea. You are extremely experienced and knowledgeable and a bright light. So welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here today.
Amy, you are welcome and encouraged to love me as much as you possibly can. And I'm going to love you right back the whole time.
I got like a little chill there. I love it. Yes. And just for everybody to know too, we're doing two parts. We're going to do an episode today and another one coming out in a week. So I am so excited that this is not the whole conversation. And we get to really dip into biohacking on the next episode. So as we get started today, Susan, I want to ask you how you view sexuality as a key component to personal growth, because that has been such an eye-opening thing for me. I've been doing the work around it for the last 3 years, I believe, really intentionally in the last 2 years. And so I wondered, what was the eye-opening moment for you? Like, how did you come to that realization and how do you see it?
Yeah. Okay. So basically what's going on in our culture today is that we have a lot of religious repression and patriarchal views of sexuality, and we have a lot of censorship. And mostly these control mechanisms prevent us from having good sex because they keep us from getting the information that we need to have really great lovemaking that keeps getting better throughout our whole lives. The information that people know about their sex life, how their sex work, how sex works, what lovemaking is, how their bodies work, how to communicate their needs or even know what they want, how to even know what's possible, are at a stage of development that is thousands and thousands of years behind where so many other parts of what we know are, like some of our, scientific advancements and things like that. We can send, people to the moon and beyond, but women aren't having regular orgasms. That's crazy to me. It's just insane to me that we have all this data. And so censorship is a real thing. And that's why, thank you so much for having me on your podcast, because you know how that saying, like, a fish doesn't even know it's swimming in water because it's just their reality. The low level of sexual skill and ability that we currently are even aware of is our water, and we're the fish. We don't even know what our bodies are capable of. And it's due to this, this oppression and the fact that all the images we see are either, pornography or very, very old school patriarchal styles of things. Like Nielsen just came out with a report that said that younger people today do not want to see rom-coms anymore. They don't want that that kind of sex where boy meets girl, they fall in love, he rips her pants off and penetrates her, and her bra is still on, and he hasn't even barely touched her body. They don't want that. If you look at new dating apps, the new dating apps are community-minded, like Field and Plura. They're not hookup apps. They're actually like find your people types of things. More expression of gender spectrum, more expression of the types of relationships we want are starting to come up. And so I've been teaching what I like to call heart-connected, passionate, conscious love-making techniques and bedroom communication skills, and what I would generally call intimate wellness, but also leads us to not just kind of wellness and regenerative therapies that kind of reverse aging, but also go all the way up to sexual biohacking, like enhancement of our structures, systems, and capabilities. For example, the 20 kinds of orgasms that the human body can have, that people don't even know that these kinds of things are possible. And yet they're something we all have the ability to do if we just learned how. So sexuality is definitely a series of learned skills. And when people have bad sex, it usually has come from either trauma or abuse or fear created by a lack of knowledge. And what I've found over the years is that there's a couple of kind of key constituencies of people who say, this is not enough for me, and I want to know more. Why can't I learn how to be a better lover? And those people are generally personal growth mindset people who say, I want to optimize myself in my life. They are also people who are very embodied, typically athletes, bodybuilders, people who are really taking care of their physicality, yogis who like tantric sex, things like that, where they're taking care of their body and they love what their body can do, and they want it to have incredible pleasure in addition to things like athletic performance or physique or what have you. Those are two really big groups. And then lately, kind of a combination of those two is this biohackers movement. And so a lot of times I talk about sexual biohacking, and I know we're going to do that in the next episode. And that's a really interesting area of like sexual superhuman performance, sexual optimization, not just taking what your body can generally do, but taking it to whole new levels. So the heart-connected, passionate, love-making piece of it and the techniques themselves, I've literally written hundreds of very specific, step-by-step pleasuring skills and communication skills that people can learn. And what I love about sex is that my job is actually easy. And I'm weird and rare in my category because most people in the sex business are therapists, sex educators, sexologists. They are actually more along the lines of solving problems, fixing dramas, healing rifts in relationships. They're the therapy side of things. And I don't work with people one-on-one. I'm a publisher of passionate lovemaking techniques, my own and others whose work I think is incredible. And I want to give it more, opportunity to get out in the marketplace, whether it's how to have an expanded orgasm practice, or the pleasure of yoni and lingam massage, or becoming a multi-orgasmic man, or the joy of female ejaculation, or learning how to seduce with integrity to move your partner toward pleasure rather than trying to do manipulative kinds of things, or begging, or expectation, or what have you, demanding your partner give you what you want. There's just so many probably my number one book is Sexual Soulmates, The Six Essentials to Connected Sex, which is really about having this kind of very heart connected, passionate lovemaking that's super hot and super turned on and very satisfying, where you become extremely sexually self-confident, and your sexuality nourishes and makes you thrive and fuels your overall life and overall happiness and overall growth, so that you have great sex your whole life long, which has massive cascades of downstream emotional and health benefits that lead to longevity and a life much better, well lived than people who can't break out of, oh, I know enough, or I'm traumatized, or what I do is good enough, or, they're not seekers. They're not sexual seekers. So I really love the sexual seekers. And when you booked me on your show, I thought to myself, Amy has those personal growth mindset people who are like, oh, I can learn more. And Sue says it's really easy to learn these things, and they almost work instantly. And I can collect all of them and learn them over time and have a better and better life. Okay, that's my people. Your people are my people. So thank you for having the show and allowing me to come on and, really talk about, like, what do we need to know to have hot sex?
And well, you said it's easy, and thank you for all that. There's so much packed in there that I would love to get into. Yeah. But just what you just said right there, I think that we build it up in our minds to be more difficult, or maybe we've had trouble in the past because things have been rushed, or all these different reasons. There's trauma in the background, whatever, we're self-conscious about our bodies, media, the list goes on and on. So when we say easy, I think that a lot of people have been in the mindset of, oh God, this is going to be another thing I have to do. It's another thing of work, and so what are the easy ways to get there?
There's this phrase that I love. Have you ever heard this notion of a little hinge that swings a big door? Have you ever heard that phrase?
I don't know that I have.
Yeah, I love that little phrase. Yeah, I like it too. It's like, you can imagine this little tiny strong hinge or two on this giant heavy door is opening and swinging this big heavy thing, and you can just walk right through. And I think that sex techniques are very much like that, and they build upon each other. There are a lot of different things that you can learn in sex. And what I've found is that because it's such a vast landscape, people enter into my world from all different places. They could enter through a desire. They could enter through an interest. They could enter through something where they're not having what they want, or they have a problem that they need solved sexually. Like, just in the last couple days, a few people have asked me for support in their very, very classic issues. In decades of doing this, at this point, I've written 5,000 articles, 300 videos, 44 books and programs, and I pretty much have an answer to everything. Some things do change over time, as do our cultural mores, et cetera, and our approaches to things. The human operating system is fairly stable. And when people, they email me or they DM me and they ask me a question. One of the ones was one of my daughter's very best friends was visiting, and my daughter's 27, and she said to me, "Can I ask you for some sex advice? Because I can't really talk to my mom about this." And I was like, "Of course, honey, sure, you bet. What do you want to know?" And she said, "Well, I kind of feel like I'm not very sexual. I wonder if maybe I'm asexual. I like sex because I like to be close, but I really don't have orgasms in partnered sex. And I really even have a struggle achieving orgasms from, my solo pleasuring. And I can't talk to my mom because she comes from the old country and she's very, very conservative. It would make her very uncomfortable to talk about it. And I just don't know what to do about it. Should I just give up, or is there anything that I could do? My other friends, they talk about how great sex is and how much they love it and how satisfying it is. And I just feel like maybe there's something wrong with me. And I think to myself, if I had a nickel for every person who thinks there's something wrong with them, instead of something wrong with just a lack of knowing what to do. And I talked to her about a lot of different things, everything from you have to train your partner. They don't know what your body needs at every moment. You have to learn to listen to yourself. Your body, she wants something different in every moment. She runs on a moon cycle, and what worked last time isn't going to work this time. That you have to develop really good communication skills, and you have to be willing to love the person you're with, even if it's for a night or a weekend and not forever. That you have an opportunity for every single interaction to be very, very loving, and one of those things that you'll remember for the rest of your life, that you can bring your heart to everything that you do. It's not going to hurt you. Even if things don't work out, it's more like you can get over that and move on. Your heart is a muscle that needs to be used. Your vulva and vagina, which I like to call the yoni, Y-O-N-I, which is a Sanskrit word, which means portal. It's a beautiful word in the tantric lovemaking world for the female genitals, and the lingam is the male genitals. Your yoni is always opening, expanding, and developing like a beautiful lotus flower. And wherever it's numb or feeling shame or feeling pain, it can be transformed to feeling pleasure, that it's much more than the tip of your clitoris that's pleasurable, that you want to activate the outer labia, the inner labia, the mons, the clitoral hood, the vestibular bulbs, the opening to the, vagina, the inside of the vagina. The vagina wants special things itself that are not just an in and out thing, that your partners, if they're men, have primarily only ever seen porn and never been with anyone with any experience. They have an entirely different arousal system than you do. So the mechanisms of action happen much more quickly. You should never feel that you owe anyone anything. You don't owe men an ejaculation. You don't owe men an orgasm. You don't owe anybody anything. You should be able to stop, rest, reassess, reset throughout a lovemaking experience. Solo pleasuring is going to help you expand your pleasure. And it just kind of went on and on and on with a lot of different, I know that we use this word boundaries, and I wish it hadn't been boundaries, because a boundary sounds like a fence. I think about a boundary as the outer limits of where you can take your pleasure before it would go beyond what you're comfortable with. And so I like to think about a boundary as we're playing right up to this edge, but not going over it. And I can trust you to honor my boundaries, whatever they are, in this date that I'm having, this time, this moment with you. My boundaries change all the time too, because I have different conditions that I need for different moments of pleasure. And so I said all these things, and she was like, oh my God, I could have missed a lifetime of great sex had you not told me these simple things and just given me a reset on my whole approach. I told her what vibrators I recommend. This is one of the things I want to talk about in our biohacking episode next week, is all of the different orgasmic cross-training tools that I recommend, as well as how
I love that term. That's awesome.
I hope I didn't break that one. I want to talk about the 20 kinds of orgasms, orgasmic cross-training, and how as you age, you get better and better at having more pleasure. It's just everything is looking up for you going from today onward with your sexuality, knowing just some simple things about how bodies work, what kind of sensation and pleasure bodies like. Oral pleasuring techniques, intercourse techniques are huge, Amy, because all we ever see is the old in and out, and that's not even what a vagina wants 80% of the time. That's not even what the vagina wants.
Yeah, I can relate.
Yeah. So there's so many things you can learn about having orgasmic intercourse. Every person can orgasm from intercourse. All women. It's simply a learned skill of understanding how the system works and working the system. So yoni massage, lingam massage, breast massage, throat gasms, belly gasms, core gasms, nipple gasms. I mean, it's just like endless. And then communication techniques like how to know what you want and ask for it without your partner contracting or shutting down or feeling like they're a failure, how to get them to love your feedback, how to create fun, erotic play dates, what things you want to learn next, different types of erotic play dates you can have. There's just worship, adoration, feedback, sensual talk, sharing fantasies, sharing frames. I mean, I could just go on and on and on and on with all of the things that are pleasurable experiences that are available to learn that people don't even know anything about because people like me can't. We're shadow banned on Instagram. We can't advertise our books and programs because they're lumped in with pornography. And so it's changing slowly, but still, people are working at a kindergarten level, no matter how good you think you are in sex. My double decades of hot sex tell me that there is way more that everyone can be experiencing that will fuel your vitality and your creativity and your health. So
I think there's like a fundamental
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think there's like a fundamental shift that you've got to, like that hump right there, you've got to get over. The hump of knowing this is part of my actions toward vitality. Yeah. And that's what I'm doing, because otherwise you can be like, I'm tired. And how much time do I have to devote to this? And how much patience do I have to have with myself and with others? You know, and like shifting into that mindset of it's like working out or learning a lot of the other things that we do, right? And we're willing to know, okay, there's a payoff at the end of this. And instead, I think sex gets the short end of the stick a lot of times because we're tired, we're overtaxed. It falls lowest on the to-do list that we write up in our minds of things that we need to get done. And so wouldn't you say there's like that part of it? You gotta, yes, there's a growth mindset there, but you gotta really get into the mindset of like, this is beneficial to my entire soul and being in order to devote the time to it.
Netflix wants you to sit on your ass and watch and stream their content. Instagram wants you to scroll and buy things for your dopamine fix. Everything, ultra-processed food has invaded our food supply. And so ultra-processed food wants you addicted to junk food and sugar and unhealthy fats. And then once you're sedentary and you're addicted, then you just have no energy to work out. And so you sink deeper and deeper and deeper into essentially the consumption, the capitalistic consumption strategy to own your ass and get your money. And they don't pay you enough anyway. On top of it all the money flows up to, the people at the top. So it's a really, really tough time to get out from under all of the things that are being thrown at you to manipulate you. But once you get on to a lifestyle where you're moving your body, where what you'd rather do than anything is go out for a bike ride or take a yoga class or go to the gym and lift some weights or run the beach stairs or take a beach walk and then come home and make yourself a healthy home-cooked meal and then have a love-making date afterward, instead of coming home and having a giant glass of wine and eating some food that was conveniently prepared for you and sitting down and watching TV because you're so exhausted. That's your slide down to hell. and there's no saving you. And I know that for the people who are like in that trance now, they're like, I'm getting out of here. I don't even want to hear this, because it's so triggering for me to say it. It takes significant commitment to opt out of all of the control mechanisms that we're surrounded by all the time. It's just really, really hard not to drink and eat pre-made meals or go out to restaurants all the time. It's really hard not to. And then you want to buy everything, and then you just want to watch TV, and then you don't have a sex life. It's a bummer.
It is a total bummer. And I've been there. Like, I think that it's a practice. You know, you have to break those habits, develop these new practices. And I'm so glad you brought up food. I saw something on your Instagram talking about that too. That is such a key component, because when I can break those, I am so much more energetic when I really stay. I personally like to eat vegan. And so, you know, when I really adhere to that, eat a lot of vegetables and good vegan protein and like things like that, I'm like, gosh, here I am at the end of the day and I feel great. I feel like going and cleaning out the garage, you know, and you're like, you know, I feel like being with my partner. And it's so fundamental, because people can get all caught up in these, I need this pill and I need this biohack and I need to go to this gym, but it's can be super fucking simple if we'll just let it be as simple as it really is. And that's getting in touch with your body too. Anyway.
Yeah.
Rambling, but yes, I'm glad you brought that up.
It's not that I don't like my PEMF mat and my red light face mask.
Sure,
and,
me too.
You know, my intravaginal red light device and, you know, all of those things.
Wow.
I do like those things. We're going to talk about that on the sexual biohacking episode.
Cool.
I've got some photobiomodulation for your vajayjay that I think
I can't wait.
by a wonderful company, a woman-owned company that's just incredible, and it fixes a lot of problems. As a matter of fact, at my age, now I'm 62.
How old are you? How old are you?
Yeah,
60.
62. And
good, looking hot.
Really nice, solid guns, and you know, like slabs of thigh meat, and I can hold sex positions, and I have incredible stamina, and my orgasmic capacity is off the charts. I can orgasm all of the different ways. I can have many orgasms. They're massively intense, and they can go on and on and on and on. I can come for hours, and it's incredible. And I can even get up the next day and continue to function now. You know, it's like when you first start coming really, really well, you need a little recovery time, because it takes, you know, it's like, it puts you into a trance state of pleasure that it almost overloads your, you know, nervous system a bit. And so then you learn over time how to come really well, and still it fuels your energy.
This podcast is sponsored by Wands. Wands creates luxurious pleasure practice tools that help people become more connected to their bodies. They have a huge selection of incredible items like yoni eggs, the most gorgeous crystal pleasure wands you've ever seen, free bleed blankets, and my favorites, the trademarked glass cervix wand and the Venus wand, which is their heaviest wand made of stainless steel, and their new ecstatic vibrator. This company is woman-owned and creates products designed to help you become more connected to your body and your pleasure and support the healing of pelvic pain. Get yours today in their always discreet packaging at wands.com. That's Wands with 2 A's, WAANDS.com, and use my link in the show notes to get 10% off, or enter the code Amy Edwards at checkout. Again, that's Wands, WAANDS.com. The Amy Edwards Show is sponsored in part by Higher Dose. Higher Dose creates wellness tech for everyone with tools, supplements, and body care. And I have 15% off for you with my code MAGIC15. Higher Dose has been featured in Goop, Glamour, Elle, Vogue, Bazaar, Allure, and more. I have their infrared pulsed electromagnetic field, or PEMF mat, which emits electromagnetic waves that mimic natural frequencies found in nature, stimulating and encouraging your body's natural recovery process. It also has 20 pounds of crystals in it and has shown to ease chronic pain, aid in exercise recovery and circulation, deepen your meditations, reduce stress, and improve total body relaxation. I also love their red light face mask. It stimulates collagen, reduces fine lines, regenerates cells, and it's soft and easy to use and store and even travel with. I'm a true fan of these items and more, like their glow serum. So I'm excited to offer you 15% off using my code MAGIC15. Go to the show notes. You can click through on the link right there. Or if you go to Higher Dose, just enter the code MAGIC15 for 15% off. HigherDose.com. This podcast is sponsored by The Collective ATX. If you're looking for the best in hair extensions, it's The Collective ATX. They do mine, and I won't go anywhere else. I've tried them all over the years, and finally, I've found what makes my real hair stronger and fuller, and even works with my natural curl. They keep all their extensions in-house, so there's no wait, and they specialize in no damage to your natural hair like traditional hair extension methods. Plus, they're pros at color and covering gray. I have literally never in my life been happier with my color. They were named a top 200 salon by Salon Today in 2023. They've changed my hair journey. Let them change yours. The Collective ATX, link is in the show notes.
But one of the things that I think is a really good way to start is that if you are, getting out and moving your body, if you are, trying to win as many days as possible on eating more whole foods, and you're focused on your sleep, and you're focused on lowering your stress. My favorite saying of all time is let that shit go, and move and focus toward where you're going and let that other shit go. But there are people with certain genetic SNPs, certain serotonin alleles, where every time they think about something bad that happened, it's like Groundhog Day. It's like it pains them all over again. But I recently did a fantastic video with Dr. Nan Wise. I'd be happy to introduce you to her. She is a sexologist and neuroscientist with an expertise on our biggest sex organ, the brain. And we did a segment on how to get over betrayal and things that hold you back from your past. It's on betterlover.com. And that's a good thing if you're one of those people who's like really reactive, very sensitive, has trouble forgiving, forgetting, and moving on. There's nothing wrong with you. It's your genetics. 9 times out of 10, it's your genetics. And there are techniques you can use to move through it. So if you are the kind of person who is, okay, I'm working on things. Things are good. I'm doing, like 50% of the time, 60% of the time, 70% of the time, I'm creeping up on getting out from under other people's plan for me and living my life as a sovereign being who's living life on my own terms. Then I want to have what I call ageless sexuality, the sexuality where at the end of your life, you have had incredible relationships, a life full of love, a life full of great sex. Your body is in better shape. Your mind is in better shape. You had that incredible life. And when you do that, the place to start, when you get into a moment of overwhelm, like, I don't know, where do I start to learn all this shit? Okay, I'm open to these little hinges. What's the hinge for me? What I recommend is I have a list of 48 erotic play dates. Now, there's a difference between having sex or making love with your lover and having an erotic play date. An erotic play date is a date where instead of it just being we're making love, it's we're going to learn something new together. And remember that you can be your own lover. You don't need a partner for this. Most of the things on this 48 are things you can do with and for yourself. And you should always have a really good solo pleasuring practice, even when you're partnered, but especially when you're not. Because every time you give yourself orgasms, this is one of the things that my daughter's friend said when I said, what are some of the key takeaways for you? One of the ones she said was, I thought that if I used a vibrator, it would desensitize me so I couldn't have orgasms from, a partner. And so many people think that, and it's the exact opposite. What you're doing is you're actually sending more sensation into the tissue. It's getting larger and more engorged, which means that it's got more surface area, sending more signals to your brain, your biggest sex organ, that processes that pleasure. And it teaches especially for women, it teaches you how to get your erection, your yoni erection, your clitoral erection, so that every time you're with a partner, all the blood flows in there more easily. It balloons up. The sensation is there. But also you can use toys during partnered sex. One of the favorite things I like to write about is all the different ways I use toys in my lovemaking, not just in my solo pleasuring. It becomes perfectly normal to bring in tools. I mean, I use an oral irrigator and an electric toothbrush. Why wouldn't I use, things in my sexuality? The Sex Life Bucket List, and it's at sexlifebucketlist.com. Amy, would you mind putting that link in our show notes?
Yeah, for sure.
Remember, because I won't. Sexlifebucketlist.com. It has 48 erotic play dates, and I give you a video where and it's free. I walk you through all of the things, and you're going to mark them. And I'd love you to do this, Amy. I'd love you to do this with your
I'll do it. I'm already thinking like Justin and I love this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's
going to be so much fun. You mark each one with an A, a B, or a C. And A is, oh God, this is for sure going on my bucket list. B is, well, it's not going to go on my bucket list, but if Justin wanted to do it, I'd totally do this with him. And C's are
open to it.
It's not for me right now. Never say never, because the thing you used to go, why would anybody want to do that? Now you're fantasizing to that. As you mature and you gain more skills, you're open to more experiences, but there's nothing on the list that's yucky that you would feel embarrassed about doing, with your boyfriend or your partner or anything. And then you have your bucket list and he has his, and you kind of merge them. And then you plan dates, erotic play dates, where you're going to learn. I want to find my G spot. I want to find my P spot. I want to learn how to ejaculate. I want to try the dope flow sex date. I want to try the heart tongue technique. I want to try glissando. I want to do a lingerie photo shoot. I want to try the come full circle sex position. I want to try the pressed in time technique. And so there's this all these things, and I would say 90% of the things on that list, maybe 95, are free. I give you the techniques. There's probably 5% where there are books or programs that take some time to learn, that I can't just give you a PDF. There's some videos you need to watch, like how to become a multi-orgasmic man. That's actually one of the top things that men are interested in that end up on their A list. They want to be able to have full body energy orgasms. They just don't know the steps. And I can't just tell you in one page how to do something like that. So I have Multi-Orgasmic Lover for Men as a program. That's one of the programs I publish for Jim Benson, who is an international men's tantra teacher who does a marvelous job. We've taught 10,000 men how to become multi-orgasmic. And it's just step by step by step. You have to do a few things. So that Sex Life Bucket List is the place to start. If you're like, okay, Amy, okay, Suze, I'm gonna learn some stuff. Yep. Give me some little hinges. I'm ready.
I am ready. And it's been something I've been doing, but I'll still find myself holding myself back sometimes. And it's such a practice for me to keep at it, because I can even get discouraged sometimes. Like, oh, well, I'm a failure because I haven't, not squirting all over the place. Right. And so, and you hear things on social media, or I do anyway, it's part of my algorithm. And that's talking about that kind of thing. And you can feel less of a human, and then that gets in your head. And so it's breaking through those mindsets and really embracing this learning, embracing this and embracing that it might take a little while. How long did you take, Susan? Like when you say, okay, there's 20 types of orgasms and I do them all.
Yeah.
Like, are we talking about a decade? Are we talking about a year? Are we talking about, they all came at once? I don't know. So like, I'm sure it's super subjective to the person, but for you, what was that progression like?
Yeah. I'll go through that progression, but one of the things I want to say about squirting is that squirting is a porn term. And I think that we've done... Oh, no.
Female ejaculation, sorry.
Yeah, no, not at all. No. But the thing is that, like, when I was talking to my daughter's girlfriend, she said, I've had partners who've made me squirt, but I just don't feel anything. And I'm like, I know. Well, the number one thing is that's like a party trick to get some ejaculatory fluid to come out. If you just, beat the crap out of your urethral canal, you can probably get some out of there. But you're not feeling it because no one's hearts are connected, and it's not being done in a reverential way because the guys who are doing this to you are looking at porn, and then that's what they're doing is they're treating your body like it's just this inanimate object, porn star disconnected thing. They're just pushing buttons and twisting dials to get an effect. But what you need is love, adoration, calm, arousal, appreciation, and female ejaculation, which all women can do. Some do it naturally, and other women just need to learn how to release their feminine waters, is very much tied up in G-spot activation, G-spot de-armoring. There's a lot of healing work that has to be done for women. You can't just go in there with two fingers hooked up inside and just like, and be like, oh, well, I'm here to squirt. Like I hate that so much. It's so dishonoring. And women feel like there's something wrong with them if they can't do it. And it's just been completely screwed up by porn. And so I just want to say that there's so many women running around thinking there's something wrong with them or, whatever. And it's just like the whole approach to it is just so terrible. We need loving, opening, awakening, slow and pleasurable sensation. And then once you get your feminine waters, your divine nectar, releasing and flowing. Like last night, I had a date with my husband, and lately, so this goes back to the how long did it take you and what did you learn? The first thing I learned was I had clitoral orgasms with a vibrator until I was about 40, 42. And then I was really I was a very late bloomer. I was really disillusioned because I wasn't having orgasms from intercourse. I had sex with my husband for 12 years and I never had an orgasm from intercourse. I didn't want to do it anymore. We almost got divorced and we're like, we got to fix this because we love each other. This is crazy. We got to fix our sex life. We went to sex workshops. We learned how to do it. It was almost instantaneous. Little hinge swings a big door once you know what to do. And I was like, oh my God, I have to bring all this stuff online because nobody's going to go to sex workshops, get naked and, do this stuff but me. So I got to put this on the internet so people can learn these things in the privacy of their own home. And so I learned, we awakened by G-spot. Then I learned female ejaculation. My husband learned male multiple orgasm. Then I just over time, everybody who thinks, oh, well, my nipples aren't sensitive or, oh, the only way I can come is this pathway. That's not true. It's like, that's what orgasmic cross-training is. You work a pathway and then you add a new pathway in and you start to be able to come the new way. And so the 20 kinds of orgasms, which we'll talk about on the next episode, what you're really doing is you're activating the mind-body connection, the brain to vulva or brain to nipples or foot or throat or what have you. And so I learned everything, like over time, throatgasms, expanded orgasm practice, oh my God, like everything. And one of the things that I've come relatively late to was cowgirl, riding my husband, being on top of him. And I'll tell you, I freaking love it now. And so it's currently my number one favorite thing is I like to get on him and use him for my pleasure. And my husband is very auditory in his lovemaking. There are three kinds of styles that people have during sex: kinesthetic, visual, and auditory. And you're usually more dominant in one of them. I'm a more kinesthetic person. Mine is very sensation based. And so I close my eyes a lot and I don't need a lot of noise. That bothers me. Light bothers me. I just want to feel. My husband loves auditory. And so he loves me to tell him dirty stories or give him like a blow by blow of what I'm doing. He loves all the moaning and all those kinds of things. And so last night, now that I'm so strong because I work out all the time and I've got these nice slabs of muscle on me, I can get on him and I can ride him cowgirl and just come and whisper all these dirty things in his ear. And it turns me on and it turns him on. And last night I was ejaculating all over his penis. He had given me a yoni massage and then he was stroking my G area and he kind of got me really warmed up and it felt so good. And then when I got on him, I just let my feminine waters go and I was just dousing him. There was a puddle under him at the end and it was so sexy. It was just this incredible. And I mean, to think that I was this woman who didn't want to have sex with my husband 20 years ago to the year. I was almost getting divorced because I didn't want to have sex with him because I never had orgasms from it and I didn't really want it. And I was disillusioned with sex to now bragging to Amy about how hot my sex was last night and what I was doing for my husband and how I was releasing my feminine waters and how, it just feels so good as a woman when you can have tons and tons of orgasms. You can come and come and come. And when you release your feminine waters, it's a way that we as women are like marking our territory, taking up space, making a mess, all the little things that your good girl's not supposed to do. Well, screw that. I'm making a mess, taking up space, owning my sexuality, having incredible orgasms. And that's what I want. I want everyone to feel as empowered and embodied and satisfied and confident as I do. And the only difference between me and someone who is like my girlfriend's, my daughter's girlfriend, is just the little hinges, learning the things and practicing them with erotic play dates.
And, you're such a good example of not feeling behind. Like, I think so many people can be like, well, I know I have before because like here I was in my late 40s and I was like, God, I feel like I'm just figuring out what I even want. I never had really entertained it. I'd always done what someone else wanted. And so that was so eye-opening to me as I started to really do work. We went to play parties, things like that. I've done a lot of episodes about those things. And it was just so eye-opening to me. But I thought, gosh, have I wasted a lot of time? But you're such a wonderful example of, look, here I am in my 60s. I'm having the absolute best sex of my life and still learning how much better it can get. So there's not an end to what we can experience, but we can open up. And I honestly, I'm so grateful for, and I wonder if you feel this way too. I'm so grateful for understanding what that kind of deadness feels like, that numbness. Yeah. Like, I feel like it makes me a better voice to talk to you, to understand these things and to possibly help other people. And you too, because you understand, you were there till you were in your 40s and had to have this learning journey. And now you're like, I get it, And I think it's coming with age too, because, well, I am in the best relationship of my life now too. Good. But those two things together, and with a man who's very much in a growth mindset and very here for it. Mm-hmm. And so that's been wonderful for me. But I'm going to be 52 this year, and I'm more able to relax into my own pleasure and to trust my own journey and my own path with it, rather than feel behind or feel like I've been like everybody's figured it out and I haven't, or something like that. So, yeah. Oh, Susan, thank you for sharing all that. I'm really glad you did, because it's very, very encouraging.
Yes.
What happened with your daughter's friend? How's she doing? And what were some steps that she ended up taking? Did she work on her pleasure practice?
This was just yesterday.
Oh, it just happened.
It just happened yesterday, which was why it was top of mind. And
yeah.
I'll tell you, do you want to know a story of the other kind of big question that I get? The other really big one?
Absolutely.
Mostly it's in the two categories of women, feeling like there's something wrong with them. Women take it on themselves.
Yeah.
I'm broken. It's me. And then their husband's like, I guess it is, but I'm not going to stop fucking you. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, gee.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's one. And then the second one is my wife rushes me for sex. I have to beg for it. She feels ugly. The kids take all her time. She barely tolerates me. I don't know what to do. I love my wife. She turns me on, but she doesn't want sex. That's the second that's the number one most common thing I get. The number two is the women who feel broken. And
wow.
And that's a very interesting one as well, because what I have to teach, I have a program that I wrote called Revive Her Drive. And it's at reviveherdrive.com. And Revive Her Drive is interesting because guys get it and then they email me and they go, haha, I thought I was trying to fix her and you just fixed me. I guess I was really not taking responsibility. I thought it was her fault. We weren't having sex. And I get them with the Revive Her Drive because they think they're going to fix her. That's a very masculine thing. She's broken and I'll fix her.
Yeah.
And she thinks she's broken and he thinks she's broken. And really what it comes down to, I know it's so funny. Yeah, it's just, you know what that is, honestly.
Yeah,
and
it's true.
I love men so much.
I'm laughing because it's true and I get it. Yeah.
They want to give us incredible pleasure. They just don't live in the feminine body. And it's so different from their body. And, when you have the difference between an outie and an innie, you have the difference between testosterone and estrogen as your dominant hormone. Mm-hmm. You have the difference between being in a female being the female in a patriarchal society and a male in the patriarchal society. You have a difference between the shame and repression that comes to women versus men. I mean, and then you have the body image issues that come from being estrogen dominant versus testosterone dominant. There's just so many forces that get in there, and men don't know how to unwind all that. And women aren't taught to be sexual leaders, so they just submit to the sex that they don't like just for the sake of their marriage, and then they get bitter. And all of those things are really, really difficult. So what I teach men is what she's really like inside and exactly how her arousal works and exactly what you need to do outside the bedroom and inside the bedroom to get her to love having sex with you so much that she's scheduling those erotic play dates now. But she's like, I'm feeding the kids early. I've got this one shipped off to this person's house and this one shipped off to this person's house. I got some new lingerie and this is what I want to try on Thursday night. We're going to, I made us some chicken pot pies. Let's get in the bedroom. And I'm a very practical person. The chicken pot pies must
I love it.
You know what I mean? If there's one thing you know about a guy, it's definitely feed him and fuck him. That's what they want.
Yeah.
They want above all the things. They want to get fed. They want to get fucked. They really are very simple creatures. And I take that job seriously. I'm an excellent cook and I'm an excellent lay.
I love it.
I love you, Amy. You're so fun.
I love you. You're awesome.
I can say anything to you, which I love. You're so good about that.
Yes, absolutely. That's what we're here for. Let's fucking talk about it.
Once guys learn how to give her what she needs and to stop treating her. I have this thing, the golden rule versus the platinum rule. The golden rule is to do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, which is just bullshit because it doesn't work. The platinum rule is treat your partner the way they want to be treated and have them treat you the way you want to be treated. And that can start outside the bedroom with your relationship values, but it also needs to be in the bedroom. And once you tell a guy, look, and they like checklists, they don't need any fancy stories. They don't need a lot of, they're like, tell me what to do. And I go, all right, here's what you need to know. This thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing. And we could go into it any other time. I know you want to stay, we want to cover a lot of ground here. But once a guy just starts doing those things, he's like, holy shit, it's working. Oh my God, we're having the best sex of our lives again. And the one thing I say about Revive Drive is, if when you got married, she didn't like sex then, I can't fix that for you. You need to go to a therapist. Something's happened. But if you used to have hot sex and it just waned over time because you were treating her the golden rule versus the platinum rule, that is super easy to fix. And within a matter of weeks, you're going to start seeing the gains. And sure, there'll be steps, 2 step forward, 1 step back. Sometimes, of course, there will, you're just learning how to do this stuff. But you will start having the sex you always wanted to have. It is doable and possible in every single relationship where the sex used to be good, as long as there isn't some major health issue. Like if your partner has massive anxiety or depression or has had any kind of a challenging health issue, your libido is the other side of your health, your overall health. They're one and the same. Your libido is an expression of your health. I know when I'm not feeling well because I don't want sex. I know when I am healthy because I'm horny. And that's just how it is. So I think for anyone out there who's like, man, and by the way, for women who are like, well, what about if my husband doesn't want sex? I hear that more and more and more now. And I would say that the biggest issue is, number one, that that their diet is very bad and that they probably have very low testosterone. But it could be that they're workaholics and they have avoidant issues and that they just don't want to relate or connect. It could be that they have, that they're seeing someone on the side and that they've kind of lost their desire for you due to other things that have happened in the relationship. Mm-hmm. But generally, it is mostly around that kind of health, that knotted issue of ultra processed foods, endocrine disruptors, low testosterone, stress, which leads to lack of desire, which is fixable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is fixable. Absolutely. And, I want to be respectful of your time because I know we're going to do another episode next week. And good. So I wanted to bring it back really quick to what you said at the very beginning about censorship. And I have noticed, though, that we are having more of these conversations. And even if you're listening to these podcasts, even if they're seeking out your courses, that's more conversations, more in the collective. We're putting it out there more. We're living it more. And that is so foundational for all of this to get there, just talking about it. And that's what we're doing right now. So anybody listening, way to go, because and myself included, because this is how we start to make change, how we start to open up, how we start to find more vitality and become, more open to to all these things that are possible, like you were talking about. And so thank you for having this conversation and opening up to all this, because the more this happens in the world, the more we're able to see it rise up and see all of humanity become, better at this and probably more at peace and happier, I'm guessing, if we're all having more orgasms. I'm just thinking if we're all in love and more intimate. So as we wrap up, Susan, what would you like to leave people with as we go today? Anything on your heart or anything you even want to reiterate or just something that's coming up for you right now?
Well, the one thing I would say is don't allow all of this information to overwhelm or swamp you. Go back to the sex life bucket list and print that out and go through it. Watch that video and print that out. That will be your true north as to what it is you need and want next. There'll be something in there that speaks to you. And you don't have to do and learn everything at once. You can start with the thing that is the most appealing to you right now and or to you and your partner right now, and just start there with one thing. There's no hierarchy or one thing's better than another thing. It doesn't work like that in sex. In sex, it's just a big group, a swirl of possible pleasures that whichever one, it's like a box of candies. You might like the caramels and I might like the nuts. Let's just each pick our chocolate and enjoy it. So I would say that's the one key takeaway is go to the sex life bucket list and see what's your first step. And then the second thing I would say is that if you have a question for me and you want me to point you in the right direction or answer it or what have you, I do that all the time, all day long, every day. I'm replying to people. I spend 10 hours a week answering fan mail. And the way to send me your question is that I have a newsletter. It's at betterlover.com. You can opt in there and you can reply to any email I send you. I send out 2 emails a week that are packed with sex tips and health tips for sexual vitality. And if you reply, I personally get it and I'm happy to answer your question. And so I think that's also kind of like, okay, where do I start? Or I have a problem. Between the Sex Life Bucket List and the Better Lover newsletter reply, those are the two ways that I can support you in your personal journey to more pleasure and satisfaction. So that's what I'd end with.
I'm in 100%. That sounds good. Do you look back at your life, even 20 years ago is not that long. And do you ever look back and you go, holy shit, I never would have predicted that I would feel like this? Do you look back and just go, wow?
I couldn't imagine the level of pleasure that the human body can achieve. But remember, I don't look back. I just look forward.
Good one. I love that. And is your happiness in your heart and life a direct reflection of that pleasure? Like, what are you overflowing with happiness?
Yes. I think sometimes people think that I might be faking it because they can't believe somebody is so joyful and happy and, complimentary and loving and open and smiling. And they're like, she must be drunk or on mushrooms or, like bullshitting me or trying to get something from me. It is very unusual to be as just happy and joyful as I am, but it's real, it's authentic. Like I literally, Amy, I don't have any filters. I am exactly who I am. What I have found is that when I tried to be perfect, so you'd love me, you liked me less than when I am just exactly who I am. And not everyone will love me. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And I'm okay with that too. That is fine with me because I am so loved by so many people, especially since I just started being 100% myself. And I did that about 20 years ago when my husband and I were having all those struggles. We did a couple of things. 1, we went to therapy. Number 2, we went to sex workshops. Number 3, we started our expanded orgasm practice, and which is kind of like an orgasmic yoni massage practice. And number 4, we started becoming radically honest. And once you become radically honest, your life is so much juicier and more interesting and pleasurable that you no longer have the energy to pretend you're something else or to sugarcoat things or withhold things or walk on eggshells or, just like not address your bullshit, your frustrations, your anger, or whatever. Once you just get all that out, you're just like super straightforward and you learn to be able to like hold all the sensation in your body that happens when you talk about tough things. It's that same muscle of being able to hold sensation that allows you to hold massively pleasurable sensation in your body without checking out, dissociating from it. That all the truth helps the orgasm. You become a sensation superhero of being able to hold and manage anything because you want and love to live the truth.
Oh, I have found that to be so true in my own life. The more honest and authentic I am across the board in my life, my sexuality and my orgasms have been a direct reflection, and I have been able to open up more because I am just more real in who I am. And I think part of that comes with age. Yeah. We get more comfortable with who we are. Sure, there's probably people that are doing it in their 20s, but I don't know. I wasn't. And I didn't understand it even. But the more I accept myself and love myself, the more open I am, and the more I'm using my voice authentically. Like it's all connected. And so like that realization is huge when you're able to say, hey, maybe just like my, if something hurts in my foot, it might be my hip or my back or, it's like the same thing. Everything's all connected. So that's so incredible. And it shows. And you know what? Some people, it is triggering, right? Like they don't believe it. And I've experienced that as well. So, or people kind of saying that about me, like, but you get your glow on and there it is. And so it shows. I'm so excited to talk next week with you about sexual biohacking. Let's cover I'm going to put everything in the show notes. I have a long list of links where people can find things that you have mentioned in this episode and more. So everyone can follow you and all that kind of stuff. So that'll be in the show notes. Is there anything in particular you'd like to highlight? You already mentioned your newsletter and the bucket
betterlover.com and the Sex Life Bucket List are the two great places. Those are two on-ramps to start. They're kind of Rosetta Stones to everything. So I think they're a good place to pop into my universe. Yeah. Thank you so much.
I do too. Oh, thank you. We get to continue this conversation even further and talk about sexual biohacking, which I am ecstatic to learn about. So I want to just say the hugest thank you to you, Susan. You are such a bright, shining example. I love meeting women like you. Not that there's anybody like you. You are one of a kind, but women who are embracing their full shine at every age, because that's why we're here. So thank you, Susan. Thank you to everyone that joined today. Please follow Susan, check these out, and check back next week because I am going to do the sexual bucket list. Erotic playdate bucket list, I believe it's called. And I'm going to be doing that and reporting back. Yes. So I'm very excited to share what happens with that. So thank you so much for being here. All of you, you can follow my newsletter at amyedwards.info, amyedwards.com, and find any other information, including my courses. So I love you so much. All of you, keep shining. Till next time.
This has been the Amy Edwards Show from Overcome Studios. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe. And thank you so much for being here. Sign up for our newsletter at amyedwards.com.